You know, some people might suggest that Meghan Markle's a little bit too hasty. She's sort of careered through so many things in her life without actually giving it much thought. Well, some people might say the same thing about Prince Harry, marrying a woman who he's never met her father or indeed any single members of her family, but didn't think that was necessary because apparently whatever she told him was the absolute truth. Now, as you career through and things are not necessarily going the way that you planned, particularly in the public domain, then you have to look back and think, was I a little bit too quick to let certain things slip through my fingers? Namely, important people that could be very beneficial now as you career through your latest reincarnation, trying to sell jam to chums on Instagram. And I use that term loosely. As ever, let me explain. Maudit, lovely to see you. Thank you so much for joining me. This beautiful lush green area here in the very heart of Kensington. Nice, isn't it? I'm sure. I'm glad you like it. Yes. Now, well, it's nice, and thank you also for your lovely comments about the the step up and the history and stuff like that. That was actually in West Yorkshire. A lot of people thought it was in Derbyshire. There must be another Hopton Hall there, but that was in West Yorkshire. And it's, as I say, I just love finding these blue plaques and sharing it with you because it does get you thinking, doesn't it? You know, can you imagine all of those people, rich people that stood outside their carriages, got on there and went wherever, you know? And really in that area, it's quite a hilly sort of rural area. So there would have been landed gentry, a lot of money. Some might say, of course, the same for Harry and Meghan. Well, are they that well off now? She's reduced to selling jam. I mean, there used to be a programme over here when I was at school called Farmhouse Kitchen with Dorothy Slayholm. And it was a great afternoon thing. She was a wonderful, lovely lady who hosted it. But it always reminds me of that when I see that with Meghan and her jam. You see her at home somehow, you know, getting the pots of jam and scooping it out. You think, not likely, eh? But it's interesting because, as you know, in the world of celebrity, it's interesting how you have to keep, really, people connected. You know, people are on the up, people are on the down. There's very few people at that's the complete, test of time. Tom Cruise, you might say, might be one of them. Still a major star right through from the 1980s. That's a big thing, to be able to say you're doing. Now, as you know, Harry and Meghan, particularly Prince Harry, had access to so many wonderful people. All thanks, of course, to his prominence inside the British monarchy. David Beckham was one of them, and we told you yesterday how basically, he was desperately trying to make connections with them. And that was because he really needed to somehow reconnect with them. It was important because obviously they're now very big in America. I know not possibly as huge, but in the celebrity world, it's very important. Now, can you believe this, that Victoria Beckham hit 50 and had a huge party at the weekend? Meghan thought she might get invited. Why? Because she sent her a present and a card. Now, we're not quite sure if it was the jam. Maybe that's why she didn't get an invite. Who knows? But on a serious note, apparently this was the olive branch from Dame Meghan. Oh, yes. You see, when you suddenly come back into prominence and you might be useful and might be needed, oh, she's back there as if nothing's gone wrong. We've seen Meghan discard chums a little bit like old tissues, no longer in use, might as well chuck you in the bin. And that's what's happened. Now, what happened was that, well, as we know, David and Victoria had a big success at the Super Bowl, and their docuseries for Netflix also did very well. There we are, you see, if you're a little bit too hasty in removing people that might be very useful, particularly when you're climbing the greasy pole of celebrity, which is what Harry and Meghan are now, you have to be very, very careful. And more importantly now for Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, where they move next in the celebrity world is going to be paramount, because while they may be suddenly friendly, of course, with the Polo King and Queen, Nachos and Delfina, I think it is, well, that could equally go the same way. Everybody suddenly is gushing about Meghan's jam, all because, of course, we told you that they have to if they want to remain in the inner circle. But people like David and Victoria Beckham, they don't need them. That's obvious, and it's funny, isn't it, now how the tables have simply turned when things have gone a little bit, shall we say, disarray for the former royals. Neil Sean in the very heart of Kensington.